I call Pini Hinari.
Tēnā koe, Mr. Speaker. Amongst that confusion, it seems that not only is the government tired of saying no, they just seem tired to debate on this particular bill. And they're just tired in general, and maybe they need to consider more ways of renewable energy. Something to get them a bit more proactive in the debate in this House. Can I echo the sentiments, Mr. Speaker, of my colleague, the Honourable Ruth Dyson, towards Mr. Hughes for his fantastic work in this, and indeed the entire Green Party for your continual work in this space around making sure that we leave a taonga and we leave an environment for our tamariki and for our mokopuna. So I rise to support this in its first reading, Mr. Speaker. And I want to, the bill amends the objectives of the Electricity Authority to include the line to promote greater use of renewable energy, including from distributed generation sources. And I just want to, we'll break that up into two parts, Mr. Speaker. The first one is to promote greater use of renewable energy. Mr. Speaker, I'm well connected in the Māori circles, and I visit many marae across the country. I know of many discussions across marae around the country, all around how do they involve themselves in the market of renewable energy. They're looking for better ways to utilise their natural resources, from water to wind, and of course to capture the great sunshine that we have. So anything that incentivises our people to get involved in more renewable energy sources, I think, is a very good thing. And while the member opposite mentioned how we are already functioning at around 80% of renewable energy sources, well, what's wrong with aiming towards 100% of renewable energy sources? So that's a good thing, to be able to promote, in particular and amongst our Māori communities, the ability for them to get involved into renewable energy sources. And what kind of benefits does this bring, Mr. Speaker? It obviously brings benefits. As the tourism spokesperson, the international community look to New Zealand. They look to New Zealand for leadership in this particular space. They also look to New Zealand because of our beautiful environment. Most people come here, they want to go and see our beautiful mountains, they want to swim in our beautiful rivers, which sadly at the moment is just a little bit harder to do than when I was a child. They also want to come here, ski on, water ski on the lakes, and go up on bush walks and track walks and even cycleways. They want to be able to do all of this, and I think if we can move our country into a focus on our environment, which I believe is just one part of this bill and what it tries to promote, then that can only mean good things for our tourism industry. But with a word of caution there, that it must be managed and it must be maintained in a clear plan to make sure that the boost in visitor numbers doesn't have a negative impact on our environment. But I digress, Mr. Speaker. The other part around it is, and so my colleague, the Honourable Ruth Dyson, talks about the distributed generation sources. And it talks about if you establish a renewable energy source and you have excess power and you want to redistribute your power to the national grid, then you should be able to do so, and you should be able to also do so at the market rate. Now, currently as it stands, it seems that the bigger power companies who have a very big, strong stranglehold on the industry at the moment, they get to dictate and determine what that looks like without any real sort of independent authority or oversight. So I think that this is a particularly good bill, Mr. Speaker, and I want to just echo Labour's support for this bill and also to congratulate Mr. Hughes. Kia ora tātou.